Welcome, 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 founders. We are back with the Elevate Pod here. I've got my two co-hosts next to me. We got Simon Severino and Neil Fairmont. Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
Excited
Doing
to
very well,
be
thank you.
here. Hello,
Yeah,
everyone.
excellent. I love it. I love it. I'm Sean Malone as the third co-host here. And today we're focused on paid communities, or is your membership paying you money to be in your audience, right? So that's the one topic that we're going to dive in today. Don't forget, next week we're going to get into our optimizing YouTube series. You're not going to want to miss that. So make sure and subscribe to the channel, smash that like button so you get the notifications. And don't forget, this is a conversation. This is not just a one-sided thing. All you got to do is drop a comment and we'll keep talking with you. If you have any ideas for episodes or anything that you want us to do, we're all ears. That's why we're here, right? Because our job is to help founders elevate to the next level. With that said, we're going to dive right into it today. So we got two of my favorite people on stage. Let's do some wins. Simon, what's a big win for you today, man?
More members in the Sprint Club. Each one of them is a win. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. Really cool people. I'm learning a ton from them too.
I love that. Mr. Neil, what's a big win for you today?
Just finishing up my course on how to go live on LinkedIn and why you should be doing that in 2025.
Hey, where can people get access to that?
I'll drop a link
on
in the
LinkedIn?
comments after this. On LinkedIn. Yeah, just go to LinkedIn and follow me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm in progress with writing a book right now. Or actually, I'm in progress. I'm writing 5 books, but I'm focused on one. So we're gonna get one done, then we'll go from there. We'll see how that goes. Actually, I have one done, but I haven't published it yet. So let's dive into it. Paid communities, like we always do. We got our average, we got our standard round, which is usually 4 to 6 questions, and we got a vulnerability round, which is our lightning round. So I'm gonna start with this. Simon, I'll come over to you. Question 1, why does having a paid membership make more sense today than ever before for both business and for the customer?
The paid part, I think, is because you will sustain it longer if you get paid for it. Because the most critical thing is not to give up too early. I see so many founders starting a community, then getting frustrated and closing it again. And it breaks my heart when they have 80 members and they close it, because it's easier to go from 80 to 120 than to, if you close it. That's why, 2 parts of your question. One, why paid communities? Paid because you will keep it up longer, and that's the whole secret. The second part, community. Why community in the first place? You can do products, you can do services. I think community is the new marketing. If you think 2026, 2027, how will you decide what you buy? I'm already this way. If I can buy that software or that software, I want to know the people behind it and the people using it. And if I trust them, I'm happy to pay more. I'm happy to pay quickly. I'm happy to stay longer and to have additional purchases. If I don't trust them, much harder, 10 times harder for them to get my money.
100%. Neil, over to you. Why does having a paid membership make more sense today than ever before?
I agree with Simon as well. I think there's too many free communities out there now. And when you join a free community, you're more than likely to dip in and dip out at your leisure and really not invest any time in there. So I think a paid community is going to build a lot more value. It's going to build a lot more forge relationships with people. You've got a lot of like-minded people within a specific community, and especially if you're paying for it. So with a paid community, you're going to get a lot more people who are going to stay around and basically engage with you. And obviously a paid community now is going to give you another revenue stream. So I think it's more important than ever to get a paid community out there and basically get these relationships.
I love that. The last things that I'll share on this is like, why is it important now to have a paid community more than ever before? Well, because there are 6 reasons why somebody would join a paid community. And I want to kind of touch on these 6. But again, this is a way to relieve stress and maximize profit with the little amount of work possible that you have to do. When you build a paid community, you have reliable income that's coming in your way every single month. And even if it's low ticket, it doesn't matter. Think about it. If you have 25 people or $25 membership per month and you have 100 people, that's $2,500 every single month coming your way. That could cover some bills. And it's not too much to ask. Most people are willing to spend that kind of money to learn something, right? And so the 6 reasons that somebody would want to be in a membership, a paid membership, because they have a need. They have a need that they need to satisfy, that they need to learn something so they can grow to the next level. They want to get mastery over a topic that you might already be a master in. So they're going to join a community to learn that. Next one's community. Other like-minded people, kind of like what Neil was talking about. Next one's entertainment, right? We have memberships to Netflix. We have memberships to Pandora. We have memberships to all these places for entertainment, whether we're listening to music, watching videos, whatever else. That is a definite reason why people join memberships. If they want to learn something about something, that is another category of why someone would join, just because they want to learn it. And then the last one is just simply convenience. Think about diets, right? I saw this, I'm trying the carnivore diet right now for the next 90 days. And there's a paid community that's $7 a month where this chef basically builds all of the carnivore recipes that you need and delivers them on a daily platter in their community. So a lot of different reasons as to why somebody would want or need to join a paid community, but those are the 6. That's why it makes sense today more than ever, because where we're going, AI, right? AI is not human yet. AI does not have a conscious yet, right? And so people are looking for locking arms with other humans, even if they have AI assist. So I think communities are something, as we've seen with school, they continue to grow and grow at light speed. So that is the reasons why I would say having a paid membership is vital in today's economy. Let's move to question question number 2 here. Simon, you have a membership. Neil, I think, are you building one right now? Let me just get some facts here.
So I'm building one on Substack. So my community started with YouTube. As you know, it's a subscription model and it's a free community on YouTube. You can create memberships and things on there. But I decided to sort of move my email over to Substack. So I'm building a community there, and I will be offering some paid for services within that. So that's where I am at the moment in my sort of community evolution.
Okay, so you're in the kind of the beginning journey. Simon's kind of more in the advanced part. I would say kind of in the middle. Simon.
Quick ideas on your Substack, which, by the way, I love it, guys. The Creator Cafe is amazing. And I've seen 2 things working. Some people do directly from YouTube to Patreon, and the Patreon membership, which is not super lucrative, but it immediately gives them access to a Discord group. And I am in a few of those Discord groups that are very alive and very fun, and I'm enjoying them a lot. It's like $10 a month, so I don't even think about paying that I'm paying. I even forget that I'm paying, and I'm enjoying the experience. The second thing is I see people on Substack, your strategy, and they ping me something that's super relevant, and in the middle it stops and say, now you have to be a paid member to continue here, which is smart. Some people, they almost get me to subscribe. So I like both.
Got you on the FOMO game, huh? It's like the fear of missing it out, right?
Yeah, it kind of works.
It works really extraordinarily well. Yes. Yeah, love that. Okay, so let's dive into it. So let's say, for example, you guys both have memberships. I have a membership. Flowchat.com is a paid software membership, right? Subscription. And we are pretty high ticket compared to most, so that's great. So we have a higher ticket one. Simon has kind of a lower ticket, medium, and high ticket. Neil has one that he's building. Is it going to be low ticket, medium, or where is it going to fall?
It'll probably just be low to medium to start with because of the numbers and so on. And obviously, if you want to have like a huge amount of people on there, then maybe, yeah, it'll go to high ticket at some point. But right now it's low to medium.
Cool. All right. So the next question is this. I'm going to start with you, Simon. When you're building a membership, because you've done it so many times, at what point do you know that your model is actually working, and how long does it usually take to get there?
This is a question that I get a lot, and the answer might be frustrating because you never know that it's working. Even if you're making a ton of money, doesn't mean that you're reaching the right people, doesn't mean that you're giving them exactly what they need so that they will stay around long enough, doesn't mean that just because they're activated, you will keep them activated a long time. So it's a constant A/B testing, constant A/B testing. For example, the Sprint Club, it's just $49 a month. But every Tuesday, I have a meeting with my team who is more technical than I am. And we go through every single comment. I tell them what I heard on the phone or what I felt that people are frustrated with. And every Tuesday, we try to improve one feature, one usability moment. Can be just a button or a color or the way the comments get distributed, or if everybody should get pinged or not, or once a day or once a week. All these little things we continuously A/B test, listen, try something, build something new in. Right now, the dashboards are going well and the quests are going well. And so we're doing more of that. So every single Tuesday, we optimize it. Now, if you ask me, is it working? I don't have an answer. It's yes or not. My question is, what can I improve this Tuesday? And I will just not give up. In 10 years, I will be still holding the space for this Sprint Club. That's the only strategy. And the tactics, every Tuesday, improve it. Does it work? I don't know. I don't care. The only thing that I care is every Friday, there will be more members. Every Tuesday, I will make it more valuable for the members. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. But for those people that are like, wow, Simon, that's totally the right in the business thing to do. If I'm on the business looking at what would be the barometer of saying it's a success or not, Neil, I'll come to you with that question. What point would you know, in your opinion, where your membership model was actually working? And how long does it usually take to get?
I mean, I think it's what Simon said, this feedback loop, because if I'm building a community, I want to know the content that I'm creating and the people that are in that community who are asking questions, engaging with others, networking and so on, whether it's working for them. And I think having a paid community, people are more likely to actually invest their time in there as opposed to having a free one where people will just dip in and out and maybe not sort of engage as much. So for me, with my community, I have two things. I have an engagement model whereby people can sort of comment and chat in a sort of a note section that they have on Substack. And then I regularly post a newsletter to my subscribers in my community on a sort of a weekly or a sort of a bi-monthly basis. And the metrics that I see there is the open rate, who's engaged in that. And that's what I'm using to try and measure that success. Did I hit a specific point that resonated with people? Did they open? Did they give me comments and feedback? If I'm not getting any feedback or anything like that, then maybe I need to pivot. I need to have that feedback loop whereby I'm listening to what's going on. If it's radio silence, I'll try something different. So I guess, like Simon said, it's a bit difficult to measure that success. But once people are engaging, commenting, and maybe even making suggestions about what you should be having in your community, topics of discussion, other newsletter topics and things like that, maybe create a video for a specific thing, that's when I can say, well, actually, this is working because people are engaging. If people don't engage, then maybe your community isn't working as well as you expect.
I love that. Yeah. Engagement is such a key aspect of it. Here's the simple answer that I would share on this particular, like at what point do you know your membership model is actually working? It's when it's paying you money, right? So when you have more cash flow than expense for your membership and you're making a profit out of your membership, to me, that's the first stage of this thing is working. Of course, we need to be really hardcore about the value that we're dropping in there. Like both of these guys say, we need the feedback loop, like both of these guys say, but how do we know when it's working? Let's set some goals. What do you want the membership to do for you? Hey, I've got 5K of bills a month. When I get my membership to 5K, to me, that's an absolute win, right? Profit, 5K profit every month. It's just doing it and I'm not doing any work. That's a humongous win. Now let's get to the next goal, 10K, right? If you're even smaller than that, having 100 members becomes a great goal, right? Because then you get 100 members, you can all cheer, you can give out awards, you can do a lot of other things. So how long does it take to get there? Well, that just depends on the marketing game and the sales game that you have to drive people into the membership, right? And so the big piece is have your membership boat. And even if it's almost like a hollow shell with not too much content yet, let's stay focused on how do we get people to come and be enticed to join the thing. And you can use things like DMs to ask questions. Hey, I'm thinking about building a membership around this topic. Would it be of interest to you? And then all of a sudden you can dive into DMs. People are like, yeah, that'd be crazy. I'd love to learn how to do this, whatever weird thing that you're working on. Okay, cool. It's a paid membership, $7. Is that a number you can afford? Or is it something you can do? And they're going to say, yeah, $7, no problem. Let's go. and all of a sudden you have a winner, right? So you can do that very quickly through DMs. DMs are usually the fastest path to get the things tested and tried out. Of course, you can scale after that with DMs too, but there's lots of other strategies. So those are kind of some of the answers to that. Let's move on to the next question. Simon, I'll start with you again. What's one mistake that almost always kills memberships, and what do we learn from it? Like the number one thing that kills memberships.
Yeah, you talked about profitability. The Sprint Club was profitable the first moment we started it. The one thing that kills it is that people think they have to build first and then to launch. That's not true. So think of, you have 10 clients, you are helping them. You ask them if it would be valuable to meet the others and to have a more direct access to you for a little bit of a higher package. And now you hold that space. Can be on Substack, can be on Discord, can be on Kajabi, can be wherever you want. You can build your own app like we did, but you don't need to. It can be a Slack group. And now you charge for that. And so immediately you're profitable. You should never build anything that has a question mark in there, that has a delta more than 0.1. So in trading, that would be a lower than 90% probability of success. Never do that. Why would you do that? Why would you introduce risk into your life if you don't have to? You're building a community. Maybe it's just the first 5 people, but they are already your clients or fans or past clients that are fans. It's this kind of people, your first 5 people. And then you bring in some strategic partners. Now you have 10. This is usually how you start.
Yeah, I love that.
And now you have 10. So it's immediately profitable. The biggest mistake is doing it the other way around. Oh, I have to pay the developer team. Why would you pay a developer team before you even know which features they need? You don't know it before. It will take you probably 1 or 2 years after the community is already up and running and slightly profitable until you actually know who this is for and what this is for. It took me 6 years to find it out for the first community. And we made workshop with the members. It was 30 members. And we made workshop together. That workshop was half a day. And I asked them, why are you here? What are you looking for? What do you need? What do you want to contribute to this community? What do you need to get from this community? What is your monetary expectation? What are some hard rules that you need to protect this space so that you feel safe here? And after that half a day, after 6 years, then we had clarity. Okay, now we know who this is for and what it is for. So don't expect to know all of that in the beginning. You don't have to, and you don't have to have costs upfront, and you don't have to introduce risks into this. These are relationships that you already have. It's all organic. It's all low risk.
That's it. That's it. Like finding clarity and getting permission from your members of what to build. That's the answer for sure. That's the one mistake. Don't not get that information before you start. Neil, over to you. You're building one on Substack. I know you've probably navigated a few potholes and speed bumps as you're building this thing. Like, what's the mistake that you might have made that you didn't make? What'd you learn from it?
I think the first thing for me was to build a community that's free to start with, not getting a community, like Simon said, building something out. But for me, it was, I'm not going to create a paid community straight off, because you have to get that following. So if you're starting off on YouTube or anything like that, you will be starting from zero. You will have no fans, you will have no clients, you will have no loyal people. So you've got to start with building that sort of fan base, the people that are going to come and support you, work with you, and so on. And you just have to start small. So I started by building up a newsletter, building up a small community, not charging for it initially, and then just seeing how that went, whether that content that I was producing resonated with people, as we spoke about before. And then I can start to think about paying or creating a paid or a tiered model for that particular community. So my advice would be, start off by making sure that you have a community there to start getting a paid service for first, and then you can start introducing a paid for or tiered model. Just like you would do with YouTube, for example. You have to have a certain number of subscribers before you can even be eligible to monetize and or create a paid for community, even on YouTube, where you're setting it maybe at $5 a month or something as small as that. So don't start with a paid community, and don't invest all your time in a system that you may not be needed to use because you don't have a community in the first place.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. I agree with what Simon said. I mean, like when we built our first community, the only reason we built it was because we had a big audience that was demanding that we built one. We actually had over 2,500 people that were saying, "Hey, Sean, the software you guys are currently using wasn't our software. Sucks. It's broken. We can't use it. It's not giving us the stuff. You, because you're the leader of this movement, needs to go and build a new software product." And that was kind of the calling of like, okay, Sean's got to go build a software product. And so me and my business partners and our team went and we did what Simon said not to do. We paid a developer $1 million to build our first software product. $1 million. Okay. That's a lot of freaking money. Crickets.
Wow.
Yeah. But on the flip side, we knew because we had been using the software, the other software that was broken, we knew it was broken, and we didn't realize it was going to be such an undertaking. Like building a software product is crazy. And if you are going to go down that path, what I would encourage you to do is hire a fractional developer before you pay an agency to build you a big ass software. That's what we did. We paid this agency $1 million to build the software. The good news was when we launched it, we made $250,000 in 2 hours, which was awesome. And then after that, for the following year, yeah, thanks. That's cool, Neil. We ended up doing 13 million in our first 10 months. So it actually became a very profitable move for us. That was our first software product. And that one caused me to burn out, which is a whole nother story because we didn't have parameters around me and all this other stuff. And so we ended up selling that one, which was cool. But yeah, what I would say is do not spend money on development work until you are sure that it can work. You can build a membership off a Zoom membership. Like if you have a Zoom account, and then you have a Slack or a Zoom membership and a free Discord group. You can build a paid membership around that. There's a ton of membership communities that you can look at to just create this before you have to go down and spend a bunch of money on dev. And so again, unless you're going to build a software as a service to do something, might not be the best choice to go down that path. So I would say the biggest mistake is what Simon said. I agree with that 100%. Don't pay for development work until you know you have clarity and permission to build the thing and you know people are going to buy it, right? All right, let's move on to the next question here. If you had to start your membership, Simon, I'll come to you. If you had to start your membership from scratch tomorrow, what would you do differently from what you've done?
I would help one person, then I would help another person, sometimes even for free, and maybe have a revenue share agreement, right? And then the third person, and when I got to the fifth, I would say, hey, want to meet the other four? And boom, I got my... This is how I would build the next community. And when they say, but Simon, the Slack channel sucks, I would say, okay, what would be better? And they go, well, something more direct where I can find the videos actually, where I can log in. I say, okay, well, then I would build the next, let's say, platform for that. This is how I would go about. The reason is, as a small business, I want to always be cash flow positive, never introduce risk that I don't have to introduce, and always have the ability. For me, it's Monday to Friday build, on Friday learn, and then iterate. Next week is again one cycle, one iteration. And so I can always build on top. And I prefer to be low risk, low growth, but repeatable growth. Because that way you stay longer in the market. Markets go up and down, but if you have low risk introduced into your business, you will survive every single cycle. And in each cycle, you will come out stronger. And when you're stronger and you have survived, 3 of your competitors are gone, now you have new members.
Well, that's it, right? So I think the key takeaways that everybody, if you're just starting to build a membership, what Simon said is work closely with your first person. Understand their needs, how they think, what they're thinking, what tools they could use to accomplish the goal that you're trying to help them with. And then do another one and do another one, right? But Russell told me once upon a time, because I asked him this question, is like, how would you start a business? He goes, I'd go work closely with my as close as I could work, which these guys will eventually become your high ticket guys. But again, it's this move where you learn 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 people, you get some reps in, and you're like, okay, these 5 people want these. You can create a category in the system, and you can go from there. Neil, over to you. If you had to start a membership from scratch today or tomorrow, what would you do differently than what you've done?
There's 2 things I would do. One, I would explore and take a little bit more time in seeing what's out there from a platform perspective that's both free and easy to use. Because I started with a couple of other platforms. I can't even remember the names now. I think they've scarred me so much. Basically, and it took too much time and investment from me just to try and get things set up and created, where I should have just gone down the route where Simon mentioned before about just starting off very simply, just getting a free platform that's very easy to use, very intuitive. Because if I'm finding it difficult to create my content and create that community on that platform, then nobody's going to join it. It's going to be too hard work. So start with the basics. Start with Slack, maybe start with Zoom, as you've mentioned, a simple Discord. I mean, some people do find Discord very difficult. So stay away from that if that's not what you're comfortable with. And the other thing would be to not create content that I think my community members want to hear or want to listen to. So back to Simon's point, get the feedback, listen to those people and start small. But for me, try and find the right platform that's not complicated, that's not going to spend too much time, because I don't really have at the time the budget to go and give this to a developer and say, just build me something. No, let's just use what's already out there and keep it simple.
Yeah, the one thing that I would do differently is what I did the second time that we built this, and I think this is valuable for anyone to hear, is we actually formed a 10-week mastermind program. And we sold that for a little bit of a higher ticket amount, like the initial investment, right? And when we started at $5,800, 6,000 was the price point for the 10 to 12. Again, we tested 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 8 weeks, 14 weeks, 16 weeks. We tested all the different timelines of what it was purchased the most. And from the data we gathered, it was a 10 to 12 week course because people feel like they can move in 90 days or less. And so that became kind of like the golden like timeline. And so what we did is we said, okay, look, like, because we're teaching sales, just like, what do we need to put into a 10-week program so that a business owner, a founder just getting started can actually accelerate, right? And so it's like, okay, how do you find leads? That was week 1. How do you talk to leads? That was week 2. How do you start getting them into calls? That was week 3. How do you convert them on the calls? That was, and so I just stepped through each thing and I built a curriculum based on me having conversations. So what I did before I even did any of that is I spoke with 40 some people and I said, hey, like if I was going to build this 10-week program, what do you think should be in it? And they're just like this, 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 this. And I wrote down all these notes and I was like, wow, there's my format for my first 10 weeks. Now I'm going to bucket that up and sell it as a course or a program or a mastermind. And how we did it was very simple. We had 2 Zoom calls a week that were scheduled. And then we had, there's balloons, and we had a free Facebook group. That was it. It was a free Facebook group and 2 Zoom calls a week. And then that's how we communicated. That was it. So simple. And we charged $6,000 for the 10-week course. And then after the 10-week course, if anybody wanted to continue with us, it was a nominal amount every single month. I think we charged like $500 or something like that. And so we built that thing up till we had dozens and dozens of people going through this. And the nice piece about doing it this way is you generate a bunch of cash flow in the front that can sustain you until you get your membership money, the repeatable recurring revenue to actually exceed the initial amount. To me, that's a humongous win. And so that's where we got to, and we ended up doing millions of dollars with just that model itself. And then 2 years into that, people are like, man, you guys need a software. And so that was where FlowChat was actually born. So
I love this.
Yeah,
this is how the best products are built. You start with a cohort, and when you get these questions, they become the modules. And when the modules don't move anymore, you know, okay, now it's mature. Now it's a good product. And then it's a course and it's a software. And now you scale it, but it's working. So this is how Ali Abdaal, from his YouTube viewership, which was young men studying medicine and wanting to become a part-time YouTuber like him and having fun with YouTube on the side. And so That's what he was getting in the comments on YouTube. He was getting these questions. How do I take notes during class? Should I buy this iPad or that? Well, first of all, they became his next YouTube video. Next week, we talk YouTube. But then he made it his first cohort, which was the Part-Time YouTuber Academy, a cohort 1. And then after cohort 2, the modules didn't move anymore. I said, okay, now this is a community. And it's still alive. It's cohort, I don't know, 10 or 12. Meanwhile, I'm still in there. It's a circle community. It's beautiful. It's alive. It's helping people a ton. So one block is how to improve your thumbnail. Everybody putting in their thumbnails, getting feedback, getting better. But he created that module once, but it's still working today. That's the power of communities. And of course, it brings more marketing and more trust into his products.
Yeah, I love that. And the other piece that I'll definitely a mistake that I have made, I know Simon's made, Neil, you probably made it too, where we built the actual module before we actually launched the thing. And so what we did, right, to combat this is we took a single doc, Google Doc, and we wrote out the 10 weeks, just a highlighted blurb of what each week is about. One page should take you no longer than an afternoon. And you have this one page. This is what you sell to your members. Hey, this is the 10-week program we're going to walk through. These are the categories. They're going to be like, that's awesome. I want that. Yep. Okay, $6,000, please, or whatever. Now they join. Hey, we're starting on this date. Make sure that you get what we did is we sold 15 people into this thing. And then we sold 5. Then we set a launch date. Then we filled up the other 10 and we had 15. That was our starting. And then we filmed this live. So we're now getting paid to create the modules instead of creating the modules and hoping they're the right fit.
Yes.
So that is the biggest secret hack of all times if you are going to go build that path. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So, okay, let's move into our vulnerability round here. We got a couple questions for these gents. Let's see. Why does that make more sense? Okay. We kind of answered that one, so we'll go to the next one here. Neil, has there ever been a moment where you doubted whether or not your paid membership was worth it for you or your members?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, I haven't started a paid membership yet, but the whole community membership thing around whether it was worth it or not is whether I'm giving value back to my people who are joining me on the community. That's the biggest thing for me. So there's always a little bit of doubt. Am I hitting the right topics? Am I providing value? And if I'm going to then ask for people to actually pay for that, it has to be something of value that's going to help people, because my channel is all about helping people with videos, and things like that. So I want to be able to be hitting those points. So that's why this free community started for me first. And then as long as I'm delivering value and getting feedback, then I know then there's going to be no doubt that when I go to a paid model, that people will be getting that level of value. So can't speak for not having that at the moment, but that's my sort of thought process in terms of value versus being paid for that.
Oh, man, that's so good. So good. Simon, over to you. Same question. Was there ever a moment that you doubted whether your paid membership was worth it?
I doubt it as a default every single moment. Today, I doubted it. And it's 217 people in there who are enjoying it. And I see the leaderboard. But that's my default. You can call it a personality flow. Most founders are like that, right? We miss something in the world, we go build it. But as soon as we build it, we don't really bath into that gratefulness and abundance. We just go, okay, what's the next thing? What's missing? So I'm always in the what's missing category. And as a default, today I onboarded a new member, Gabriela. And I go, Gabriela, welcome to the Sprint Club. This is the agreement. You are in the Sprint Club now. My duty is to add 200,000 to your life over the next 12 months by adding 5 to 7 income streams to your life. Your duty is to tag me as soon as you have any question about your email subject line, your webinar, the product feature that you're building and you're not sure if you should use this AI or that AI. Tag me. And in 2 weeks, I want half an hour with you because I want to ask you about these 2 weeks, and please tell me everything that sucked in the user experience, because I'm not a user. I don't know if this thing creates value or not. That's why I will ask you, are you willing to go into this agreement? And she goes, Simon, absolutely yes. I will take half an hour. Let's schedule it right now. Because I'm actually getting really, really good vibes, Simon. You are inviting me into this thing. And in 2 weeks, I have already my first feedback loop with you. This is creating trust and good vibes right now. Yes, Simon, I will sit down half an hour with you. And my founders are busy. So half an hour is worth a lot. But she wants to sit down because it's it's agreement on both sides, and she felt that I actually care about it. So do I adapt my own products all the time? And that's why, I'm also driven to improve that.
Yeah.
It's great.
Man, that's so good. That's so good, man. And I bet you that person will end up becoming one of your high ticket clients at some point and then in the future, as long as you continue solving problems, right? So that's super cool. The moment where I doubted whether or not a membership was working was when the day that our dev team launched a feedback loop similar to what Simon was talking about, but this one was like a feature request loop. So it's like, hey guys, go over here to the site and put in what you wish the software had. And the first day we launched that, the thing filled up, and I was like, oh my God, like this is like we built the completely wrong thing. But what I found after going through some of those conversations was no. Like they love what we already had. They just wanted it to be more advanced than what it was. And so for me, that was a moment when I truly doubted whether or not like what we had built was actually validated. And now that's been years ago. And so I'm grateful for that. So that's what I would say. But I do like what Simon said earlier. If you are going to do a membership and you're just starting, think about creating that feedback loop within 2 weeks. And again, it should be right around the time that they get their first piece of success, whatever that's going to be in your program. Last question here, and we'll cap this one off today. Neil, I'll come to you first. What's the hardest truth you had to learn about your audience once they joined your membership?
Wow. That they don't always engage.
Engagement.
So because it's a free community for now, but I've seen others where they've had paid for communities, like a gym membership, right? I'll pay for my gym membership. I'll pay every month, but I'm not going to go this week, or I'm not going to go this month. And then I'm just not going to bother, basically. So they're still paying for it. They're still joining. They're still part of that. It's like having a subscriber model on YouTube. An interesting statistics, and we'll talk about that next week, but 87% of subscribers typically don't watch a ton of your content. It's a lot of new people that are watching. So it's the engagement piece. So, okay, I've created this community, I'm putting out all this value, and I've got, let's say, 300 people in my community. Maybe only 5 of them are actually engaging and doing anything. So that's my biggest sort of problem with the whole thing. And, we've spoke about how potentially to get better engagement by listening and feedback loops and things like that, but it's the engagement piece for me.
I love that. Yeah, that's, I'll jump in before we let Simon the Master answer this one. So one of the biggest things that we struggled with when we launched FlowChat was a little bit past the engagement period is called the activation period, right? So I agree. In order to combat the initial engagement in a membership, we need a really, really solid onboarding process. Whatever that is, it needs to be bulletproof. 5 videos or less. This is how you get up and running and into launch phase of what you're doing, right? Then what we realized, the hardest truth that I had to learn was after we got people through that, they were all pumped up and excited, and they would do 1 or 2 things and they would log out and they would never come back. And I was like, shoot, that sucks. So what we did is we hired Dan Martell, who runs SaaS Academy, and we said, Dan, this is happening. And he says, man, you guys need an activation system. And I was like, what the hell is an activation system? I've never even heard of that. He's like, well, it comes after your onboarding. And I was like, duh, that makes sense. So activation simply means we have an indicator inside of our software that tells us whether the member has done this step, has done this step, has done this step. And these are all the onboarding steps. And if we find, and it's a red light, green light system, and if they haven't done this step, they get a certain email within a period of time saying, hey, you need to schedule another onboarding because you haven't done this yet. Let's get started. And so it was like nurturing them along. That takes a tremendous amount of effort and energy to install in a business. But once you have it done, again, this is more of a, I would say a little bit more of a mature membership style. Get started with sell the thing first, get the first feedback, and build an onboarding process. That'd be your first 3 steps. And then think about activation and how you keep them active throughout the remainder of the timeline. That was the hardest truth that we had to learn. When we did that, our retention numbers soared. And that was obviously what we always want is to people to stay. Simon, over to you. Same question. What's the hardest truth you had to learn about an audience once they joined your membership?
That you have to simplify things. So I bombed so many times. Like you see these 3 tools here. Now they're simple, right? The simplest geometry, a circle, a triangle. My first tools, they were like 22 pages checklists. And I said, well, run your sales through these checklists, right? And then it takes you half an hour and then we discuss. And they never did it. And so I realized, simplicity needs so much more work. So now I put in 15 times more work into simplifying things. And if they're not as simple as possible, really at the limit of oversimplification, I don't expect people to use them because it's my fault if they don't use them. AI is coming in, helping me a little bit. So now you can build stuff faster. Let me share maybe really quick what I did this week in the Sprint Club. So I have all these sales tools here and nobody's using them. One specifically, yeah. So one specific, I mean, this one is getting used and this one because we simplified them. But there was one about options trading, how you add a 6th leg to your income streams, and nobody, and I'm sharing my options in real time, and nobody is buying or selling the options with me. Except a few people, right? So I was like, okay, what do I need to simplify? And then I realized that I call a few of them. They tell me, Simon, I don't know how much to invest and when to invest. I said, okay. I go to Claude. Say, Claude, help me. My members need a very simple dashboard that we call the money management dashboard. And it tells them it cannot take more than 2 minutes to use, okay? These are busy people. And Claude, super helpful. So, okay, what are the inputs? Well, the first input is the volatility. What's the volatility? Because that tells you the risk and the opportunities. What's the second input? And I said, yeah, it's how much their account is in total. So let's say they have a $30,000 account. Okay, and now how much do they have in cash, not invested? Let's say it's 3,000. And now this thing is telling them, okay, increase your cash by 20% or invest by 15%. And you saw how long it took, right? So this is the simplicity level that a tool needs to have if it's in your community and you want people to actually use it. Go talk to Claude or to your favorite AI, or if you have an amazing team that brainstorm this with you, make it simple.
I love it.
If it takes more than 2 minutes, they're probably going to do something else.
There you guys have it. That's it. That's going to wrap up our episode for today. It was so good. Paid communities. If you missed out, rewind this episode, watch it again. Don't forget to smash that like button, share this out to somebody that needs it. And of course, subscribe to the channel because our season of helping founders elevate to the next level, it just continues to get more and more saucy. And I love having these conversations with these 2 gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here. Again, I'm Sean Malone. This is Neil Ferriman, and that's Simon Severino. We are the co-hosts of the Elevate Pod. We love you. Can't wait to see you next week. Next week, we're covering optimizing YouTube. With
YouTube party. Bye-bye.
Let's go YouTube party. Keep rolling.
Avoid trying to do thousands of things that doesn't work. We have 274 templates for your business success. Reach your ambitious goals with one-on-one sprint coach. We double your revenue in 90 days.
What if your business would run well even when you are on vacation? Discover how 1,600 business owners have regained their freedom using the Strategy Sprints blueprints. How they enjoy living their dream and watching their business scale. Get the exact checklists they use to go from stressed to fulfilled using the Strategy Sprints method. Order your copy of Strategy Sprint's 12 Ways to Accelerate Growth for an Agile Business on Amazon today. And if you